Good evening, respected Nandulal Prabhuji. Hope all you are doing well and taking all necessary precautions during this COVID pandemic. Today's program about the social media addiction awareness, specially designed for teachers, parents, and adolescents, means practically it is for all of us. And this is conducted by Indian Medical Association Baramati under its efficient social wing Mission Pink Health. Before starting the meeting, let us follow some rules, rather dictums for the meetings. First, the meeting will be followed by the question and answer session. So kindly don't interrupt the speech. You can raise finger or that is the icon or put your question in a chat box. I request all of you don't type anything else than the question in the chat box. We assure you every question will be answered provided we are not exceeding too much. Now I request Dr. Mrs. Snehalata Pawar, Vice President IMA Baramati and Chief Coordinator for Mission Pink Health Baramati to continue. We will start with the IMA prayer.
Thank you, sir. Now, as a protocol, let's start with IMA prayer, the summary of which is Live to Serve. May everybody be happy. May every one of us see to it that nobody suffers from any pain or sorrow. I do not ask for crown, nor I wish to be in heaven or reborn. I only want to alleviate the suffering of those people who are burning in fire of sorrow. Thus, we end our IMA prayer. Now, greetings to all on behalf of IMA Baramati. A small introduction about IMA and Mission Pink Health. IMA is a national volunteer organization of allopathy doctors all over India. It's the largest NGO. It looks after the well-being of community at large. Today's program has been organized under Mission Pink Health. Mission Pink Health is a community project which is by IMA with the slogan Health First, Healthy Nation Today and Tomorrow. Through Mission Pink Health, we focus on different parameters like anemia control program, adolescent health, both physical as well as emotional, menstrual health, welcome the girl child, our school chale, prevention of cervical cancer, prevention of drug and substance abuse, and the most important discussing topic that is prevention of social media addiction. So today we have amongst us respectable Nanda Dulal Prabhuji to help us out from getting addicted to social media. I welcome Prabhuji here. Also, I welcome IMA Baramati President, Dr. Mrs. Vibhauri Solunke Madam. I request Solunke Madam to introduce Prabhuji to all of us.
Namaste. Good evening, respected Prabhuji and dear friends. We all are engaged in the adoption of new life with Corona. First 2 months of lockdown, everyone was at home and did not know what to do with the time. Truly speaking, we all are addicted to social media. Can you imagine a life without mobile phone? Most dangerous part of this is our younger generation is also addicted to social media. Not only college going students, but school going children also are involved in this. To find out a solution on this, today we have Mr. H.G. Nandadulal Prabhu, a renowned personality, to talk authentically on this topic. After completing mechanical engineering in year 2000, Mr. Nandadulal has worked with Tech Mahindra till 2005. During the final year of graduation, in September 1999, he got introduced with Bhagavad Gita. After getting the answers to many life questions from Bhagavad Gita, he decided to study it fully and share his understanding with the society. He conducts 1-year part-time residential program at ISKCON Mumbai for the youngsters. He conducts value-based educational seminars for the students of St. J.S. Medical College and KM Hospital, Mumbai on a weekly basis. He also runs a training center for undergraduate students to help them live with moral and spiritual principles. He is on the editorial board of Back to Godhead, a magazine by ISKCON. He is a member of Management Council of ISKCON Mumbai Center as well as Baramati Center. We all value the principles of life taught to our generations through Bhagavad Gita. Who else but Mr. Nanda Dulal Prabhu, a staunch follower of ISKCON and Krishna Niti, to elucidate us to wade through his Bhavasagar. So, friends, I request Prabhuji to start with his word. Dhanyavad.
Okay, I had a small question. I heard there was Saraswati Devi prayers in the beginning.
No, already IMA prayer is done.
Okay.
So you can start the prayer.
Okay. Okay, great. Just a minute. Okay, we'll begin. Thank you so much, Sorunke Madam, Dr. Ghalme, for inviting me to speak to all of the residents of Baramati, the doctors, the teachers, the students, and everyone else on this very important and burning topic, dealing with social media addiction. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'll just begin after offering my prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a very important topic, and it's really great on the part of Indian Medical Association to address such an important topic. If we look at the situation right now, there are roughly 3.2 billion people who are online today. And what happens in just a minute with all these people who are online is mentioned on the screen. So many hours of videos are being uploaded and so many lakhs of messages are being shared on WhatsApp. And in spite of all this, all of us know that there is so much miscommunication happening. So it seems to be a lot of communication, but then the results are not seen. This means we cannot avoid social media. Social media is here to stay. But all we can do is we can learn to deal with it and to prevent it from becoming an addiction. Old age is something that is going to hit all of us, but what we can do is take precautions in such a way that does not hit us abruptly. So typical symptoms of social media addiction, this is basically called non-substance addiction. There is no substance involved, and it is almost like substance addiction. First thing, mood modification, which when that person is engaged in social media, then the mood becomes pleasant. So in general, it has been observed that when people are carrying out their normal work, their normal routine, probably doctors are practicing in their dispensaries, in their hospitals and so on, we get to talk only 30 to 40% about ourselves. Rest of the time we are talking about our work, we are talking about our clients. But on social media, it is something very interesting. It is almost 80% of the time we are talking about ourselves. And that's why for the egoistic people of the modern times, it's so pleasant, it's so happy to hear about myself. And especially when I get the chance to speak about myself. So this is something that is very important. This is some kind of self-satisfaction. You are trying to satisfy yourself. The second quality about any substance addiction is salience. Salience means thinking my addiction, thinking my habits to be very important, and that's why not letting go at any cost. So in today's times, there is overbearing peer pressure on everyone. I'm very happy to tell you that I have earned the right to speak on this topic for this seminar just because I myself don't have a Facebook account. So all these years, all my friends are on Facebook, even those monks who are staying in the temple, they are also on Facebook. And they told me many times that why don't you come on Facebook, and there is so much opportunities there. But last 15 or some years, although there have been so many temptations to go on Facebook, but I said, no, I don't have so much time. So I can talk about this peer pressure myself. There is so much peer pressure on me also to go on Facebook, but I have thankfully avoided it. Think about how young college students can avoid it. It's very difficult. People are there and people ask you, you're not on Facebook, it means you're not alive. So that is something very important. The third quality of substance addiction is intolerance, that is increasing disregard for anything else, anything other than that. And for this, we need to understand that every small bit of content on social media is actually curated. It is actually targeted. It is custom designed. So on websites that are made for youngsters, these are the kind of content advertisements that you will see there. For adults, those type of advertisements. One time I had to go on a trip to Kolkata and I booked a flight for it. And I can tell you for the next 6 months, whenever I used to log into Gmail, I used to get an advertisement on the side saying that cheap flights available from Bombay to Kolkata. So then I understood they're almost like tracking me. And then one point of time, I also got an advertisement, budget hotels in Kolkata. So they're kind of making a profile on me. So that's why when people go on social media, they feel they are very much connected. They feel somebody out there cares about me. Somebody out there really knows everything about me, but they don't understand when everything is free, then you are the product. They are not selling products to you. You are the product. They're accumulating data about you, and then they're selling that data to many consumer companies. The next point that is there is withdrawal symptoms. When you tell somebody to withdraw from social media, they experience a lot of unpleasant physical and emotional symptoms. And in today's psychology terms, this is called as fear of missing out. At one point of time when I was in college, I remember giving a speech on public speaking. And I remember mentioning this statistic that the greatest fear that people have is the fear of death. And the second biggest fear that people have is the fear of public speaking. And unfortunately, my dear friends, I need to tell you that things have changed. The number one fear right now is the fear of missing out. Oh, my friends and everyone are there on the internet, on social media, and I'm not there. So FOMO is something that is troubling a lot of people. And then there is conflict, that if you disallow somebody from accessing social media, then there are going to be fights. Recently, I came across a video of a boy in the 4th standard, and he was a fan of PUBG game, and this mobile game has recently been banned by the Indian government, and this child is crying and banging his head, and it's almost like he was not fed for a week or so, and he's saying, you don't understand, but I'm not getting to play PUBG and like that. So there are so many conflicts. Why? Because on social media, at least in the virtual world, it appears to people that there are no conflicts. There is that one world there, which is zero conflict world. And so many times when there are conflicts within the family, within the friend circle, people seem to find an escape route out of that by going onto social media. They don't understand because there are no real people out there, there cannot be any real conflicts. If only there were real people there, there would be conflicts there. And what happens when there are conflicts on social media? People don't deal with those conflicts on social media. They just escape it. They just run away from it. So if there is something going on social media and you're not comfortable, you just log out of there. And that's why people feel, oh, in my family, there are conflicts. In my friend circle, there are conflicts. In society, there is a conflict. But I can see that on social media, there are no conflicts. But that is a myth. And the last point that I would like to present is that relapse. Even if you withdraw somebody from social media addiction, maybe for 6 months, you snatch away his mobile phone or something, but as soon as he gets access to that, there is a relapse. And for any medico, it is very clear, all these symptoms very systematically also point to substance addiction, whereas this is a behavioral addiction. So this is something very important for us to understand. We need to be very careful in dealing with social media addiction. So it is said 71% of those who were born around the year 2000 use their phones as alarm clocks. 62% within the first 5 minutes of waking up, and then 57% before getting out of bed in the morning. So they have not yet brushed their teeth, they have not offered their prayers, they have not taken any food. But imagine checking your social media account just in case something very important and urgent happened in the night time. So we can understand this is worse than substance addiction. Nobody takes a smoke right there in the bed. Nobody drinks liquor in the first 5 minutes of waking up. So because there is no substance involved, there is no visible addiction involved, actually this kind of addiction, social media addiction, is worse than substance addiction. So this is that famous movie scene. आज मेरे पास Facebook है, Twitter है, WhatsApp है, तुम्हारे पास क्या है? And his brother says, मेरे पास peace of mind hai. So all those people out there, including me, who are fortunate to not have a Facebook account, who don't have a Twitter account, I can tell you, there is so much peace of mind that I experience bereft of all these things. So I have been requested to speak on 3 main areas. One is how do adolescents deal with this? One is how parents deal with this. And the third is how teachers can deal with this. For today, we are going to focus on how do adolescents deal with it. And for parents and teachers, please come next Friday at the same time. We'll deal in this in part 2. So everyone likes a selfie. So many selfies being clicked. What is the cost of a selfie? So they asked teenagers that, do you compare your body to the images you see in the media? All those beautiful images that you see. And 87% of the girls said yes, and 65% of the boys said yes. So every single image, every single selfie that is coming on social media, every single of those 3.2 billion people who are watching it, they are comparing. Oh, I'm not so beautiful. I'm not so attractive. And then what is the cost? After you compare your body with that person, favorably or unfavorably, what is the effect that it happens on you? And they are saying 50% of females feel they are not as attractive as the image. And they keep on going back and forth on that. What about the men? 36% of the men feel they are not as attractive as the images. Can you imagine? This is almost like 50 and a little bit more than that. Those many people on Facebook, those many people on social media are basically experiencing discontent in their heart. They feel, I'm not as beautiful as people out there. I'm not as rich as people out there. I'm not as famous as people out there. So although you may be surrounded by many things, but just because these pictures are being thrown at you of perfect looking, beautiful smile with green eyes and all that, it is basically introducing so much dissatisfaction in our lives. So today is a day of, everyone has a phone, especially in today's COVID times. Schools, colleges are all running online. And I know so many teachers who are there teaching using online Zoom classes and all. But look at this boy. This boy is not interested on what is being taught on his own screen. He is very much interested in looking in the side person's screen. So this is the typical story of everyone, every teenager on the internet, especially using social media. He has something in his own hands, but instead of focusing on what he has received, he's focusing on something that the neighbor has received. Sometimes we are sitting and having some food and there is serving going on, and there are some dishes in our food, in our plate, but we are more interested in what the neighbor is getting. So this is what is happening here. Here we can see one boy has stood first in some competition, and somebody who stood third is much more happy than the boy who stood first. And look at the expression on that boy's face. He's looking at him and saying, oh, you know, I stood first, but I'm not so happy. How can somebody who's at position 3 be happy? And here we see how both of them have some ice creams. And the girl also has an ice cream, but the boy, instead of enjoying what he has in his hand, he's looking at the girl. So the lesson number one of what we can understand by going through all the statistics is comparison is the thief of satisfaction. Comparison is the thief of joy. Here we see one lady, she has a huge body and she's looking at the slim and trim females and they are doing all those gymnastic kind of exercises and she must be thinking, oh, when will I do this? Now, there is a quote by Einstein which says, if you told an elephant to run, or if you judged its ability to climb a tree, then you would understand that an elephant is never capable of doing any of these. And if you told this to the elephant, oh, you can't climb a tree, you can't run like a deer, the elephant will go into depression. Now, very interestingly, the elephant may not run like a deer and it may not be able to climb a tree like a cheetah or something, but it has its own capabilities. It has its own strengths. So all our life on social media or off social media, we have spent a lot of time comparing ourselves with the strengths of other person. Now, every single person has some strengths and has some weaknesses. And we also have some strengths and we also have some weaknesses. What usually we do is we focus on other person's strengths and our weaknesses and keep feeling down. We keep feeling weak. But actually what we should do is let the other person work on their strengths and we should identify our own strengths and go deeper into that. And that's why till the time we don't give up the disease of comparison, this comes in schools, this comes in colleges, this comes in workplace, this comes in medical practice, this comes in lawyer practice, this comes anywhere and everywhere. That as long as you have the disease of comparison, there cannot be joy in your life, there cannot be satisfaction in your life. So the practical application of this for the adolescents is get busy doing something where you excel over others. Find out something that is unique to you. Find out something where you excel over others. And when you do that, then the result is you experience a feeling of accomplishment. You experience a feeling of satisfaction, which is exactly opposite the feeling of dissatisfaction, which is exactly opposite the feeling of discontent. So when students are spending so much time on internet and social media, and when they're feeling, oh, I don't have a beautiful body like that, you may not have a beautiful body like that, but you may have sharp intelligence, which those people don't have. So there is a conversation between Marilyn Monroe, who's a very famous, beautiful looking actress, and Albert Einstein, who's a very intelligent scientist. And it seems one day she proposed to Albert Einstein, why don't we get married? And Albert Einstein asked her why. And she said, well, the child will have your brain and my beauty. That would be a very amazing combination. And Albert Einstein thought for a while and then said, what if it happens reverse? So what he meant was my beauty and your intelligence. That would be a disaster. So till the time we don't feel accomplishment and till the time we don't feel satisfaction in what we are good at, till that time we will keep feeling discontent by comparing with others, and that's not going to take us anywhere in life. We go to the next point. Recently something happened. So this is one of the most famous singers of India, Asha Bhosle ji, and she was traveling from a place called Bagdogra to Kolkata, and the person with that black suit who's sitting in that photograph is actually her brother Sudesh Bhosle. And this whole troop is traveling and she's waiting at the airport, and she looks around and these four men who are there with her are busy on their phones, and she clicked this photograph and shared it with all the industry people saying, here I am with my brother, here I am with my all assistants, but actually when there is a free moment, they won't talk to me. And this is the state of everyone. This picture is from somewhere in Australia. This is a family. The mother and father are seated on the right side of the photograph, and they have three daughters who are seated on the left. Can you see the expression on their face? Why are they sad? See, look at what is there on the table. On the table, there is a cage-like structure. And in that cage-like structure, there are the cell phones of those three girls. So this restaurant, in order to attract customers, is saying, when you get your family to the restaurant, they have to deposit their cell phones in that cage. You cannot access your cell phones while eating. And look at the expression in the father's face. Because the father knows what happens at home. All the kids are always on the cell phone clicking. And here, as soon as the cell phones are kept there, the three girls are sad, whereas the father is very happy. Now, this is happening in Australia. I'll also take you to something that is happening in America. Who is Mark Zuckerberg? Mark Zuckerberg is the person who invented Facebook. And it is mentioned he does not post about his kids on social media. So this is from the New York Post. Another article. Bill Gates is the founder of Microsoft Corporation, and Mark Zuckerberg, again, ban technology for their children but want rest of the world addicted to it. I have shared these two articles with many doctors, and you can contact Dr. Kate or Dr. Janjale or Dr. Rupnavar, and they can share these links with you. But it's very interesting. Mark Zuckerberg is the person who's inventing different algorithms that most people, 3.2 billion people, are spending their time on Facebook, whereas for his own daughter, he wants her to play in the outside area of his home. So this daughter did not receive access to a cell phone, and this daughter does not have her own Facebook account. Imagine the daughter of the founder of Facebook does not have a Facebook account. She received access to a cell phone at the age of 10. Now, we, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we also run a school in Baramati. It's a small school. And our principal madam, Dr. Prachi Sakurkar, she always tells me that it is very important for kids to play outside in the beginning years of their life. So she was telling me that till 12 years of age, kids should not use cell phones. Why? Because that is the time when they need to touch the soil. That is the time when their senses get developed. That is the time when they need to play with toys. I remember when I was a small child, I was taught numbers 1 to 10 with the help of some rings. So there was a rod like that, and there was rings that I used to put. And the biggest ring was number 10, and the smaller ring was 9 and 8 and 10. So I had to learn 1 to 10, not just based on by hearting it. I could learn 1 to 10 by putting the biggest ring at the bottom, and then the smaller one and the smaller one. So using my tactile senses, using my touch, I was taught numbers. And in this way, I know all of you also in your childhood days, all of us were taught using toys. It's very important for kids to not just use these two fingers of their body, they use their eyes, use their nose. My sister stays outside India in Canada, and her daughter was telling me recently that once in a week, all the children, she is in third grade. So in third grade, some 50 students are taken out for a walk. And this is the time when leaves are falling from the trees in Canada because of snowfall. And then when the kids are taken for a walk, they are told for the next 1 hour, we are just going for a walk and just keep observing nature. And then when they reach back the school, they are asked, what did you observe? And then somebody says, oh, I saw that on this tree, there were no leaves. And then they are given some knowledge about that. At a particular time of the year, the trees give off their leaves, and another particular time of the year, the trees get fresh leaves, and so on. So it's very important that in so many of these countries, actually children are taken out for a nature walk, and they are taught to experience nature, to learn from the nature. How much time does it take for sun to rise? If you ask today's kids, they won't be able to answer. When it is pitch darkness, the first ray of light from that moment to complete brightness when the sun rises over the horizon, roughly it takes something like 25 to 30 minutes. But modern kids, they do not even have that desire to watch a sunrise. And you know what is the effect of this? The effect is they are used to instant light. They go to a dark room, switch on the light, instant light. They don't know the nature works in a very slow way. And the ill effect of this, my dear friends, is that when they want something at home, they say, Ai, mala attacha atta yaच क्षणी हे पाहिजे. Why? They have never seen nature giving light. They have never seen a curry, a bud blooming into a flower. How much time does it take for a bud to bloom into a flower? It takes at least 5 to 10 minutes. So if you are used to all technology and if you are used to everything instantaneously, then that is how you demand everything from your mother and father. So it's very interesting. Mark Zuckerberg is very intelligent. He is intelligent and he wants his daughter to be intelligent. He does not allow her access to Facebook. So this is in Australia and America. Now I'll take you to India. This is somewhere in India. And you know, nowadays there is this big fashion of having these fashionable bikes with these big tires. 4 of these friends, they don't have a facility to have such a motorcycle, but they all came together and then they have this kind of a bike. And then you see here, this small child, he has a flute. He does not look to be a very rich boy and he's playing the flute for the pleasure of the cat. So principle number 1 we discussed was that comparison is the thief of joy. And lesson number 2 today, my dear friends, is happiness does not come to you, it comes from you. All of us are happy till the time we don't compare. All of us are happy till the time we have a sense of accomplishment. And all of us are happy till the time we work on what is possible within the facilities that we have. I'll tell you one story from the Mahabharata. The Pandavas are in Vanvas and the Kauravas are staying in their palace. But although staying in the palace and having all kinds of luxuries there, actually Duryodhan's heart was always burning. You know why? Because his happiness did not come from his values. His happiness did not come from his behavior. His happiness came from things. And he's constantly thinking, I have all these things and I should be happy. But the Pandavas, I have sent them to Vanvas. But in that Vanvas, 5 Pandavas and Draupadi, they are all staying together. My dear friends, the reason for Vanvas was that gambling match. And in that gambling match, who gambled? Actually, it was Yudhishthir who gambled. So Yudhishthir is playing the gambling match and he loses the 4 brothers and also Draupadi. So it is very natural that after the gambling match is over, if not in front of others, but privately, they have a big fight. Bhim has a big fight with Yudhishthir. Arjuna has a big fight with Yudhishthir. Draupadi has a big fight with Yudhishthir. But the very interesting thing is, even though the 4 brothers and Draupadi suffered because of Yudhishthir's wrong decision, none of them ever had a fight and they were staying unitedly in the forest. And this unity was something that really troubled Duryodhan. And Duryodhan was thinking, here I am, but I'm not happy. And they are in Vanvas and they are together. And how can they be like that? And how can they be happy? So in this way, although Duryodhan was surrounded by all facilities and all comforts, but he was living in fire. And similarly, it could happen to all of us also. We are just looking at the phone and we are thinking, I don't have this app. I don't have this latest PUBG. I don't have this latest game. But there are so many things that we could have in our own lives. So the practical application is spend more time offline than online, just like Bill Gates wants his kids to do. Bill Gates has a big library at his home and he tells his daughter to read the books in the library. He does not advise his daughter to go on the internet and spend a lot of time on social media. So we also need to spend more time offline and then online. Yes. I'll give you the example that recently one person got the Nobel Prize in physics. And this person was asked, what is the secret of your success? And he was saying, the credit goes to my mother. Why so? He said, whenever I used to return from my school, when I would spend my time with my mother would encourage me to ask questions. She would ask me, what did you study today? What, did you understand it completely? What did you not understand? Did you ask that question to your teacher? In this way, she encouraged me to ask questions and slowly I started observing the world around and started coming up with different questions and answers. And if I don't understand something, then I would ask my seniors. And in this way, today here I am winning the Nobel Prize in physics. So it all starts with those samskaras in childhood. Now, somebody who spends a lot of time on the screen, he has no time to ask questions. He has no time to think over what he saw on the screen or what he read on the screen. It is all what I saw, I swallow. What I read, I swallow without asking any questions. And such people cannot be curious people. And curious people, they are the ones who win big prizes because they are the ones who will do research. So intelligence will come by asking questions. In the Gita also, 4th chapter, Krishna says, Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So prashna is very important. But those who are on their cell phones, they don't have any questions. And that is robbing us of our intelligence. We'll go to the third point. This is American teens feeling about social media. So around 24% of American teens, although they're addicted to social media, they still feel negative feelings. And what are the causes? They feel on the social media like Facebook, there is a lot of bullying that happens. Dadagiri manto na apan. The dadagiri bharpur hote. People, if you don't have a good relationship with them, they spread rumors on the internet and then slowly you are outcast. It harms relationships and personal contact, unrealistic views of others' lives, causes distraction from studies, peer pressure. So many reasons for American people to not experience completely contentment on social media. Now let us go to Japanese situation. On the screen is a word called hikikomori. This hikikomori is something that you should search on the internet after today's session. This is a phenomenon where highly advanced scientific society of Japan has given rise to youngsters who are not fit to interact in society. So there are lakhs and lakhs of youngsters like this who have spent roughly an average of 6 years in complete isolation. या 6 वर्षांमध्ये ते आपल्या घरातून बाहेरच कधी नाही निघाले, कधी कोणाशी भेटले नाही, त्यांना कोणाशी बोलायचं नाहीये, त्यांचे मित्र नाहीयेत. In real life, in one sense, they don't exist. They exist only in virtual life. What about their food and all? They order on online websites. All their food, all their grocery, all their vegetables and everything else comes online. So it's very interesting that more and more youngsters, because they're spending, it's a technologically advanced country. Japan is known for its technology, but then when you're spending so much time online, you fail to know the language to speak to live people. So these people, when they actually go out in society and talk, they feel they just can't connect to living people, and they can connect only to some virtual people or imaginary people. So this is a statistic. In the age of 15 to 39, there are 5,41,000 people undergoing hikikomori. They are in complete isolation for a period of 2 years to 6 years. Can you imagine such an advanced nation, such an intelligent nation, but these people are emotionally incapable of dealing with anybody. So there are a lot of people around the world quitting social media. And what are the motivations? Let's see. 41% are feeling it is wasting too much time. 35% talk about too much negativity. 22% feel there is no privacy there. I want more privacy. 18% feel there is too much pressure to get attention on social media. And think about it. 17% of youngsters feel that social media makes me feel bad about myself. माझ्यामध्ये काहीतरी कमी आहे ही जाणीव माझ्यामध्ये social media मुळे येते. And that's why slowly people are moving away from social media. So here we have two prisoners. They are in a prison cell and they're making paintings. And you can understand, one person is focusing on the bars and one person is focusing on the beautiful view beyond the wall. So lesson number 3 is art of knowing is to know what to ignore. We feel art of knowing is to know everything about everyone in the entire world. So many young kids I know today, they know more about China, they know more about America, but they don't know anything about their friends who stay in the next building. एकमेकांशी बोलायला वेळ नाहीये, पण गुगल आणि सोशल मीडियावर परदेशामध्ये काय चाललंय ते शिकण्याबाबत खूप उत्सुकता आहे किंवा कौतूहल आहे. But you know what? that should be there. When I was a child, I was also interested in the whole world. But then what if we also become hikikomori like the Japanese people? These people are fit for nothing in their life. So we should also know what to ignore. This thing is not important for me. Let me ignore it. And the practical application is that in our life, there are so many good things happening. So count all the good things in your life, not what is missing in your life. You may not have the latest cell phone, you may not have the latest game, but you have very good parents, you have good health, you have good eyes. So many people who have spent so much time on social media lose, their good strength of their eyes, and how important it is for us to have this. So this is 3 points for today. The point number one, lesson number one for overcoming this was that comparison is the thief of joy, and social media produces a feeling of comparison that is not very good for us. The second thing which we saw was that we should, the practical application is see what you have, what are your strengths, and don't see what you are not good at. So please spend time trying to do something where you are excelling over others. Maybe you have a hobby, maybe you are a singer, maybe you are a dancer. So somewhere where we are good at, when we do that, then we get a sense of accomplishment and we go forward. And then the point number 3 was art of knowing is to know what to ignore. So this is it. This was for the kids, adolescents, and for parents and teachers. We are going to do it in part 2. That is next Friday. So all of you are invited.
I'm Dr. Swapna.
Yeah.
आता असं विचारायचंय की आता शाळा तर सगळ्या ऑनलाईन झालेल्या आहेत आणि म्हणजे आता शाळेचा विंडो आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर सोशल मीडियाचा विंडो असं काहीतरी इकडनं तिकडनं उड्या सुरू असतात. तर ते तर काय थांबवता येत नाहीये, पण ते मुलांना समजवायचं कसं की बाबा हे करू नको. कारण सध्या अशी स्थिती झाली आहे की एकाने कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन करायचा प्रयत्न केला तरी पण बाकीच्या जणांचं हे सुरू असतं आणि मध्ये थोड्या वेळाने आपलं मूल पण त्याच्यात जातं. असं सध्या बघायला मिळतंय. तर ते आपण कसं अवॉइड करू शकतो? आणि सध्या असं झालं की ते तुम्ही सांगितल्याप्रमाणे इतकं अट्रॅक्टिव्ह झालेलं आहे की अभ्यास 20% आणि बाकीच्या गोष्टी 80% झालेल्या आहेत. अशी स्थिती आहे. तर कसं करू शकतो ते?
Yeah, so my humble appeal is that, next time we are going to talk from the perspective of parents. आई वडिलांच्या दृष्टीने काय काय करू शकतो त्यासाठी आपण पुढच्या वेळेस बोलणार आहोत. आज आपण मुलांच्या दृष्टीने बोललो की मुलांना उद्देशून मी बोलत होतो. These were the 3 topics given to me. की मुलांना सांगतोय की तुम्ही जेव्हापर्यंत ऑनलाईन असाल तेव्हापर्यंत तुमच्या मनामध्ये नेहमी एक असमाधान असेल. तुम्ही नेहमी कंपॅरिझन करणार आणि तुमच्यामध्ये जे सद्गुण आहेत ते तुम्ही वापरता येणार नाही आहात आणि तुम्ही मातीचे खेळ नाही खेळू शकत. तुम्ही प्रत्यक्षामध्ये जिवंत व्यक्तींशी संवाद कसा करायचा ही कला शिकू नाही शकत. तर आज आपण मुलांना उद्देशून बोललो आणि पुढच्या फ्रायडेला आपण पॅरेंट्स आणि टीचर्सच्या दृष्टीने बोलणार आहोत. व्हॉट कॅन पॅरेंट्स डू to help this situation? What can teachers do to help this situation? So kindly wait till coming Friday. This is my request. Okay, I have a question on chat which is saying how to stop FOMO. Actually, FOMO can be replaced by JOMO. JOMO is the joy of missing out. See, in our life, if there are 2 brothers and one of them is very intelligent, one of them becomes successful and another person does not become successful, it's not that we feel, oh, I am successful and my brother is not successful, how lucky I am. Actually, we want to help that person. So when there is fear, that fear is that I lost something good. But when we understand the problems associated with what is giving us FOMO, then we understand actually what I did not get is very good. I'll give you an example. There was one time a rich lady who had a servant, and in all parameters the rich lady always was more than the servant. Her jewelry was more, her money was more, everything was more. And one day the servant also got some fever and the rich lady also got some fever. And when the doctor came, first the doctor inspected the servant and then inspected the rich lady, the mistress. So then she asked, किती आहे माझा ताप किती आहे? मग डॉक्टर म्हणतात तुमचा ताप आहे ना 102 आहे. आणि माझ्या मोलकरणीचा ताप किती आहे, तर म्हणतात 104 आहे. अरे तिला माझ्यापेक्षा जास्ती ताप कसा, मला ताप कमी नसता कामा नये. माझा ताप माझ्या मोलकरणीच्या तापापेक्षा जास्ती पाहिजे. माझे पैसे तिच्यापेक्षा जास्ती, माझे दागिने तिच्यापेक्षा जास्ती, तर माझा ताप पण तिच्यापेक्षा जास्ती. सो दिस इज फुलिश. वी अंडरस्टँड तापासारखी गोष्ट आपल्या मोलकरणीपेक्षा जास्ती नको, आपल्याला नेहमी कमी ताप पाहिजे, तब्येत आपली चांगली पाहिजे. सो फोमो इज बेसिकली वी डोंट अंडरस्टँड what is missing from our life is misery. What is missing from our life is distraction. What is missing from our life is problems. So when you look at social media in this way, that it is going to pull me down, it is going to have a negative effect on me, then that FOMO becomes into JOMO. It becomes the joy of missing out. I'm so happy I don't have misery in my life. I'm so happy that I'm not missing out on something really great. Actually, because I'm not addicted on the internet, I get so much time to spend with my family. I get so much time to do some pranayam, some yoga, some exercise, and I can get some time to watch seminars like this. But if I was on social media right now, maybe I would have been watching some Netflix movie, or maybe I would have been commenting on Facebook or something. So time to do positive activities comes when we don't engage in negative activities. नको त्या गोष्टींमध्ये जेव्हा आपण माघार घेतो, तेव्हा मग चांगल्या गोष्टींसाठी आपल्या आयुष्यामध्ये काहीतरी वेळ उरतो. दिस इज माय आन्सर टू हाऊ टू रिमूव्ह द फिअर.
सर, जर आपल्याला ऍडिक्शन झालं तर त्या ऍडिक्शन मधून कसं बाहेर पडायचं? कुठल्या
ऍडिक्शन मधून बाहेर पडायचे दोन मार्ग असतात. एक म्हणजे ज्या गोष्टीचं ऍडिक्शन आहे ती सोडायची, आणि दुसरी गोष्ट म्हणजे चांगल्या गोष्टीचं ऍडिक्शन करायचं. आपल्या जीवनामध्ये वाचनाची सवय लावा, आपल्या जीवनामध्ये काहीतरी आई वडिलांना मदत करायची सवय लावा. आईला विचारा, आई मी तुझी काय मदत करू. वडिलांना विचारू शकता, मी तुमची काय मदत करू. तुमची लहान बहीण असेल, लहान बहिणीला विचारा, मी तुझ्या अभ्यासामध्ये तुला काही मदत करू का. लहान भाऊ असेल तर त्याला म्हणा, चल मी तुला क्रिकेट शिकवतो, बॅट कशी चालवायची शिकवतो. या सगळ्या चांगल्या गोष्टींमध्ये जर आपण व्यस्त असलो तर मग आपल्याला नको त्या गोष्टींची वाईट सवय लागत नाही. सो one way is to give up bad habits, one way is to replace those bad habits with very good constructive habits. And when you get busy with constructive habits, positive habits, then there is no time left for all these other habits.
Hello, there is a question that how to avoid peer pressure.
Peer pressure is something that will always be there. Youngsters feel peer pressure, those who are working, they feel peer pressure. Peer pressure in one sense should not make us uncomfortable, should not make us depressed, but peer pressure should give us an opportunity to improve ourselves. So if we understand peer pressure in that way, this is an opportunity for me to learn something new. This is an opportunity for me to improve myself. Then that peer pressure does not pull us down. But if there is no peer pressure, if we don't look around and we lose that desire to help ourselves, to improve ourselves, then that is not good for us. We'll just be isolated in our own home and feel that, oh, I'm doing great. But when there is some peer pressure from some of our friends, maybe regarding marks, maybe regarding some competitive exams, then that is how we get some motivation to move ahead in life. That is how we get motivation to go ahead in life. So some peer pressure is good, but it should not allow us to get depressed in life.
Dhiren Shah. Hello. Now am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes. Now I have promised to take all the questions, but my dear friends, we are really sorry. I have told if we are exceeding too much, then we have to stop here. I am here to thank you for our respected Nandalal Prabhuji sir, Dr. Aparna and Dr. Mahesh Kate sir for organizing this session for all of us, Master Haridas and Miss Sushmita for organizing this IT factor for us, all participants who were almost 300, and we are very surprised and we are happy to see all the kids joining the sessions. I am also thankful to my President Madam, Dr. Vibhauri Solanke Madam, and Dr. Mrs. Snehalata Pawar Madam. The next session, all of the parents of these kids and teachers, the session will be for teachers and parents regarding the social media awareness, organized by IMA Baramati under Mission Pink Health. I thanks once again for everybody. And the next session will be on next Friday, 2nd October from 9 p.m. to 9:45 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If there is any feedback, Dr. Ghalme, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.